The Dallas Cowboys find themselves under intense scrutiny once again as two of their NFC East rivals, the Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles, advance to the NFC Championship game. For the Cowboys, the sting of missing the playoffs is compounded by the fact that both teams feature prominent figures with ties to Dallas: Commanders head coach Dan Quinn and Eagles offensive coordinator Kellen Moore. Once integral parts of the Cowboys staff, these coaches have now achieved postseason success elsewhere, leaving fans questioning the decisions made by team owner Jerry Jones. The Commanders secured their spot in the title game with a stunning 45-31 upset over the Detroit Lions, while the Eagles triumphed over the Los Angeles Rams in a dominant performance. Meanwhile, the Cowboys ended their season at 7-10, their worst record in 4 years, marking yet another disappointment for a franchise that has not appeared in the NFC Championship game since 1995. This drought is now the longest in the conference, a sobering statistic for one of the NFL's most storied franchises. Adding fuel to the fire, fans have taken to social media to roast Jones for the team's lack of progress. Critics argue that the Cowboys' inability to retain and maximize the potential of coaches like Quinn and Moore reflects poorly on the organization's leadership and long-term vision. The sight of these former Dallas coordinators, thriving in pivotal roles elsewhere, has only deepened the frustration among the fanbase. As the Cowboys embark on a search for a new head coach to replace Mike McCarthy, speculation abounds regarding who can reverse the team's fortunes. McCarthy's tenure ended after 5 seasons with a 49-35 record, but his inability to break the playoff ceiling ultimately led to his dismissal. The coaching vacancy has drawn interest from notable names, including Robert Saleh, Kellen Moore, ironically still in the mix despite his Eagles duties, and potentially even Deion Sanders, though no official interview has been scheduled with Sanders. Dallas fans are left grappling with the reality that their team, once the pinnacle of NFL success, has fallen behind its rivals in the NFC East. The Commanders and Eagles not only boast superior rosters, but also seem to have made the right moves in coaching hires, leaving many to wonder if the Cowboys can reclaim their place among the league's elite. Jerry Jones, now under immense pressure, must make a bold yet calculated decision to steer the franchise back on course. Can the Cowboys finally break their title game drought, or will their struggles continue as their rivals dominate the NFC? With the Commanders and Eagles set to clash in the championship game, the contrast between their success and Dallas' shortcomings has never been starker. Saturday night was a night to remember for Washington Commanders fans, but a sobering reminder for the Dallas Cowboys faithful. As the Commanders stunned the NFL world with a 45-31 victory over the top-seeded Detroit Lions, earning their first NFC Championship game berth in over 30 years, Dallas found itself embroiled in an unexpected social media feud between two of its stars, past and present. Former Cowboys wide receiver Bryant, frustrated by the team's stagnant performance, took to social media with a pointed critique. "It's time for the team to start winning," Bryant wrote. "It's time for a real culture shift. I'm fed up with all the nepotism. Get someone in there who can win games." His comment resonated with many fans who have grown weary of Dallas' inability to break through in the postseason. However, current Cowboys defensive star Micah Parsons wasn't on board with Bryant's message. In an emotional response, Parsons shot back, "Stuff like this irritates me, Des, because you had enough talent and were probably one of the greatest in your time. You could have changed the culture, brother." The exchange highlighted a clash of perspectives on where the responsibility for the Cowboys' struggles truly lies. Bryant defended his stance, explaining that his criticisms came from a place of wanting to protect players and push the franchise toward meaningful change. He argued that during his time with the team, he made efforts to influence the culture positively. #, a culture in question. This public back and forth has reignited discussions about the Cowboys' organizational culture, a subject that has become increasingly pressing as the team continues to fall short of expectations. With the Cowboys now the only NFC franchise since the year 2000 that hasn't reached the conference championship, the question of leadership and culture looms larger than ever. The success of rivals like the Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles only adds to the frustration. Both teams have established winning cultures, with Washington's Dan Quinn, a former Cowboys defensive coordinator, leading the way. His immediate impact in Washington has left some in Dallas questioning whether the Cowboys' leadership has made the right decisions in retaining or parting ways with key figures. #, the bigger picture. Bryant and Parsons are far from the culprits in the Cowboys' decades-long championship drought. Both have been exceptional ambassadors for the franchise in their respective eras, but their exchange underscores a broader issue. Words about culture change mean little without results on the field. Meanwhile, the Commanders and Eagles are proving that building a winning culture requires decisive leadership, bold strategies, and an unwavering focus on success. With Washington one game away from a Super Bowl appearance and Philadelphia continuing to dominate, the Cowboys are left to reflect on what went wrong and what needs to change. What's next? The Cowboys' ongoing search for a new head coach will undoubtedly center on the need for a true culture shift. Owner Jerry Jones and the franchise face mounting pressure to get this hire right. After finishing the season with a disappointing 7-10 record, the franchise is at a crossroads. Can they find the leader who will not just talk about change, but deliver results? As fans and former players vent their frustrations, the Cowboys must find a way to turn those emotions into a tangible plan for success. Until then, Dallas will remain on the outside looking in while their rivals take center stage in the NFL playoffs. The Dallas Cowboys are currently deep in the process of searching for their next head coach, and one name that has sparked speculation is Pete Carroll. At nearly 74 years old, Carroll boasts a storied NFL career, including 14 seasons leading the Seattle Seahawks to consistent success, a Super Bowl victory, and back-to-back appearances on the sport's biggest stage. But could Carroll bring that same energy and culture-building prowess to Dallas? Let's dive into what a potential Carroll-led Cowboys team might look like, his coaching philosophy, and the unique challenges he'd face. Pete Carroll's coaching philosophy: competition and grit. Carroll is renowned for his motivational and psychological approach to coaching, which he detailed in his book Always Compete. Central to his philosophy are competition, grit, and accountability, principles he ingrained into the Seahawks culture during their most successful years. This competitive mindset was even visualized on the walls of Seattle's training facility, where Carroll displayed a competitiveness scale to guide his players. His mantra, "Positive attracts positive," exemplifies his commitment to fostering a team-first mentality and building a cohesive locker room. The Cowboys, mired in criticism for their lack of culture and identity, could benefit from Carroll's knack for instilling discipline and unity. Offensive and defensive philosophy: adaptability with proven roots. While Carroll is often labeled as a conservative, run-first coach, experts argue that he values balance rather than rigidly adhering to a specific offensive approach. His time in Seattle saw a mix of West Coast offense influences and adjustments to maximize his players' strengths. From building a system around Russell Wilson's mobility to later revitalizing Geno Smith's career, Carroll demonstrated adaptability. Defensively, Carroll's legacy is cemented by the Legion of Boom, a modernized version of the Tampa 2 scheme. This aggressive and disciplined approach was foundational to Seattle's success and influenced other defensive masterminds like Dan Quinn, currently with the Cowboys. Carroll's return to his defensive roots could be a natural fit for Dallas, given their experience with similar systems. The potential staff: familiar faces and fresh talent. Carroll's long tenure in coaching provides him with a vast network of connections. Speculation suggests he might recruit familiar names like Clint Hurt or Shane Waldron, his former offensive coordinator, to join him in Dallas. Carroll has also been known to groom rising stars in the coaching world, which could lead to a mix of experienced and innovative staff members. Adding intrigue is the idea of Carroll incorporating a succession plan. Reports indicate Carroll has considered grooming younger coaches for eventual leadership roles. Some sources even suggest pairing Carroll with Cowboys legend Jason Witten, who has already proven himself as a high school coach and could be developed under Carroll's mentorship. Challenges with Jerry Jones. Can Carroll navigate the Cowboys' unique environment? One of the biggest questions surrounding Carroll's potential hire is whether he could work effectively with Cowboys owner Jerry Jones. In Seattle, Carroll had final say on roster decisions, but rarely exercised that authority, instead delegating to GM John Schneider. This collaborative approach might align with Jones' management style, but Carroll's patience could be tested by the unique dynamics in Dallas. Carroll's ability to keep internal matters private was a hallmark of his Seattle tenure, but Dallas, a franchise constantly under the media spotlight, might present a different challenge. Could Carroll bring the same cohesion to a team often plagued by public scrutiny and off-field distractions? Hashtag age and longevity. A short-term fix with long-term vision? At 74, Carroll's age is a factor. While he exudes energy and vitality, reportedly maintaining a vegan lifestyle and a yoga practice, it's unlikely he'd coach far into his 80s. However, Carroll's enthusiasm for the game remains evident, and he might bring a short-term spark while laying the groundwork for the future. If paired with a young successor like Witten, Carroll could create a seamless transition plan. Hashtag is Carroll the right fit? Ultimately, Pete Carroll brings a wealth of experience, a proven philosophy, and a track record of success. His ability to adapt his systems and build strong locker room cultures would be invaluable for a Cowboys team in need of direction. However, questions remain about his compatibility with Jerry Jones, his willingness to navigate the unique challenges of Dallas, and whether his age aligns with the team's long-term vision. If Carroll takes the helm, Cowboys fans could see a return to disciplined, competitive football, something desperately needed to break their decades-long Super Bowl drought.